All right, good afternoon. It is Tuesday, April the 1st, 2025, and we are live right now with another update on yet another severe weather system that is going to be making its way through our area tomorrow, and the probability for a potentially catastrophic flooding event, at least in some areas of Illinois, Missouri, and Kentucky over the next 3 to 4 days. This is likely going to be, just because of how much is going on, this is likely going to be probably the longest severe weather update that we have done yet. So if you have some extra time, be sure to stay tuned with us. As always, you can go back and watch this video anytime you'd like. It's always going to be up on Facebook, but this is going to be our main primary update on this entire system unless we see any major changes in the forecast. So first of all, I want to go ahead and run through, we're going to talk about the severe weather threat first, and we are currently under a level 4, or a moderate risk for severe weather. Now, I know this is starting to sound kind of like a broken record because of how many moderate risks we've had as of late. We've already had one earlier this year. That was with the severe weather event that caused a tornado in Vienna and up in Perry County. But this is another moderate risk that has been issued for tomorrow. It includes a large majority of our viewing area. That includes all of Williamson County, most of Franklin County, about half of Jackson County, and all of Hamilton, Saline, Pope, Johnson, Union, and so on, more towards the Ohio River. And then the only counties under that level 3 or enhanced risk in our area is Jefferson, Perry, and Randolph and Washington, although those are kind of outside of our immediate area. So level 4 moderate risk for most of us, and a level 3 enhanced risk for areas closer to the northwest in our area. Taking a look at the tornado outlook for tomorrow, very similar to what we saw with the event back on the 15th, or excuse me, the 14th of March. We have a 15% risk of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of any given point. That is for the same areas that's under that moderate risk for severe weather. A 10% chance elsewhere, and a 5% chance up towards Missouri and the St. Louis area. So that is the tornado outlook. The damaging wind outlook, also very similar to what we saw with the March 14th event. 30% chance of seeing damaging winds within 25 miles of any given point for all of southern Illinois, 15% off into Missouri. And if you look at both of these graphics, that hatched area, the black lines going over each other, that is where the potential exists for long track tornadoes and tornadoes of EF2 or greater strength. So that would include a large majority of southern Illinois. Now, the severe weather and the flooding risk really goes hand in hand as far as the areas that I think have the greatest chance of seeing significant weather. And we are going to talk about that in great detail here in just a few moments. But first of all, I want to also show the timing for the first round of storms that is going to be moving in tomorrow. This graphic is from the National Weather Service. Probably going to start seeing storms firing up along the Mississippi River around 3, 4 o'clock. I think that 1 o'clock is a little early, but probably 3, 4 o'clock along the Mississippi River. Moving into southern Illinois around 4 or 5 o'clock, and then exiting southern Illinois by about 7 or 8 o'clock. And again, that is that first round of severe thunderstorms that we are keeping our eye on for Wednesday. That is the same round of storms that is currently under that level 4 or moderate risk for severe weather. All right, let's go ahead and bring up to, let's see here. Okay, so we're going to bring up the forecast models. This is the HRRR, which is the most reliable short-term forecast model that we have available. And it is going to show us pretty much the future radar for the event tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. So right now, one difference that we're going to see in this event that we really did not see with the severe weather event we had earlier last week is we're not going to, I don't think, see much rain ahead of this severe weather system. Now, if you take a look here, this is going to be late tonight and early into tomorrow morning. You can see some of that rain forming up there ahead of the main line of storms in northern Illinois. We're not going to see that in southern Illinois. Now, if we do see any rain, it's likely going to, I'm going to go back a few frames, it's likely going to be from those supercells you see forming back in Oklahoma and into Missouri. Those are definitely, man, those are showing some big indicators of being long track supercell thunderstorms that'll be moving from Oklahoma into Missouri. So if those hold together, which I don't think they'll be severe by the time they get to us, but if those hold together long enough, they could bring us a couple rain showers. But as you can see on this model, it's really wanting to dissipate that before it gets into southern Illinois, just picking up a couple small, tiny rain showers early tomorrow morning and overnight. So now what you're looking at would be the morning hours into the afternoon of Wednesday, and that's when our attention is turned to that line of storms beginning to form over northern Missouri and into portions of Arkansas and Oklahoma. The further that system moves to the east, you can see it kind of starts to break apart a little bit by the time we get to the early evening hours, and then by the time we move into, say, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, this would be right around 5 o'clock right here that you see, it really starts becoming a line of storms again. Now, typically when we talk about severe thunderstorms producing long track tornadoes, we talk about supercells. This is going to be more of a line of storms with embedded tornadoes that makes its way through the region. So there is still a threat for some of those more long track, heavier winded EF2 strength or greater tornadoes, but they're going to be embedded within this line of storms. They're not going to be isolated supercells. So moving into 5 o'clock, here's 6 o'clock. That's when that's right over southern Illinois. But one good progression we've been seeing in these models is take a look at the difference in this frame you see on your screen right there and that frame you see on your screen right there. I'm going to go back, and actually I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see that a little bit better in southern Illinois. Okay, so look at that last frame. You still see some scattered rain, moderate rainfall throughout southern Illinois. But look at those little red and purple dots. Those are the cells that we are keeping an eye on. And in the next frame, man, you start to see those purple, those red dots everywhere. That's indicating that the closer this system moves to our eastern counties and the Ohio River, it's wanting to gain the intensity of this line of storms, particularly down into southeastern Missouri and western Kentucky. Now, that is one good trend as far as severe weather that we have seen today. This is really wanting to, over the last couple of updates, move the severe weather risk from central southern Illinois into eastern southern Illinois. Now, if this trend continues, it could honestly push the moderate risk of severe weather all the way into Kentucky and Indiana. I'm not saying that will happen, but I'm saying that is a possibility if these model trends continue. We still have a little bit of time. We've got all night tonight and tomorrow morning for this to change a little bit, but as of right now, that's what I'm seeing. And man, you can really see it really forming into a nice organized line of storms as it crosses the Ohio River and into Kentucky before starting to lose intensity the further east it moves. So that is the line of storms that we've got our eyes on for tomorrow. I'm also going to show you let's see, significant tornado parameter. This is pretty much the ingredients in the atmosphere for tornadoes. So you can tell that, man, I'm going to go back a couple frames. Look out there in Oklahoma and Kansas today. They are maxed out, literally maxed out on tornado ingredients out there. Likely going to see some very large long track tornadoes out in that area today. Thankfully, that's not going to impact us. As we move into Wednesday morning, here's the right around 5 o'clock. Look at that. And what I just said about the major tornado threat being in Kentucky and Indiana, you see those brighter colors on your screen right there. That is the higher potential of seeing tornado ingredients. That really does not pick up until it moves into western Kentucky. So this would be about 5, 6 o'clock. And then by about 6, 7 o'clock, that's when this particular model is wanting to kind of fire off those tornadic ingredients as it moves into western Kentucky. We see the same thing reflected in the updraft helicity, which shows us the potential tracks of supercells. And look at that. A lot of that is focused in western Kentucky and into northwest Tennessee, with a couple of those in southern Illinois. Could we see a shift back west? Yes. Could we see a shift further east? Yes. It's something we're going to have to keep a very close eye on, but as of right now, the trend is moving further east, and that is a good thing for those of us here in southern Illinois as far as severe weather goes. So that's the first part, and that's what I wanted to get out of the way off the top, because I know everyone hears the word tornado and they think that's the worst case scenario. But flooding kills a lot more people than any tornadoes do in the United States, and man, are we going to potentially be dealing with a potentially catastrophic severe weather and severe flooding event, I should say, in southern Illinois and Kentucky. So a flash flood watch has been issued for all of our coverage area. That includes Perry, Jefferson, Franklin, Williamson, Jackson, Union, Johnson, Pope, Hardin, Saline, Gallatin, Hamilton counties, Massac counties, Alexander, and Pulaski counties. That has been issued from Wednesday afternoon through Saturday night into the early morning hours of Sunday. That flood watch is for up to 1 foot of rainfall with excessive flooding possible and flooded roadways likely, and it is a PDS, or particularly dangerous situation, flood watch that has been issued. PDS flood watches are very rare, specifically with a severe weather event on top of it, but they have issued a PDS flood watch. Normally we see that with tornado watches, which I would not be shocked if we do see a PDS tornado watch issued tomorrow, specifically for the areas in Kentucky. But they have issued a PDS flood watch for our entire area for up to 1 foot of rainfall with excessive flooding possible and flooded roadways likely through Sunday morning. The areas that I have the most concern for substantial flooding right now, I have circled on that map. So that would include those of you who live along the Ohio River up to the Ohio-Wabash confluence. So that would include the Paducah area, that would include Cairo, that would include Shawneetown, that would include Golconda, that would include Elizabethtown. Those areas right along the Ohio River, as well as Metropolis, those are the areas that I am most concerned with seeing some substantial, and I will use the term because the Weather Service is using it as well, potentially catastrophic flooding impacts in those areas. This is not something to take lightly, especially when we see a map like this. I've never seen a forecast when it comes to rainfall like this in our region, forecasting, look at that, 10 to 15 inches of rain in Paducah, 8 to 10 inches in Cape Girardeau, although they are literally right on that line, 8 to 10 inches of rain in Marion, 8 to 10 inches of rain in Piedmont, Missouri, Evansville, Indiana, Jasper, Indiana, and that starts to taper off a little bit further to the northwest you go. So I think if you live anywhere from, say, Marion to Anna, Vienna, Harrisburg, and anywhere south of there in southern Illinois and into western Kentucky, you are more than likely going to be dealing with significant flooding impacts, especially by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. Wednesday, I don't think we're going to see many flooding issues Wednesday. If we do, it'll probably be flash flooding issues, and that would be organized more in Kentucky. But I think by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, once we see that continuous rainfall on top of rain we've already seen, what you see on your screen right there takes into account whatever rain's going to fall on Wednesday, along with rain on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So there's a good chance that someone in our area, whether that be just across the river in Kentucky, whether that be in southern Illinois, there's a very good chance that somewhere in our area might not see a break in rainfall from Wednesday afternoon to Saturday night. So now, not heavy continuous rain that entire time, but there's a chance that someone in our region might not see a break in rainfall from Wednesday all the way through Saturday. That's why that PDS flood watch has been issued. I don't think everyone's going to see a foot of rain, but I think someone in our region is likely going to see over a foot of rainfall when this is all said and done. And that is why that PDS watch has been issued. And man, that is definitely something to take seriously. Just look at the rainfall storm total precip graphic on the left side of your screen right there. 15 inches is the max that this goes up to. Something you really need to take seriously, especially if you're driving at nighttime. I think we are going to see many flooded roadways all throughout the region. Hopefully no fatalities with this system, but like I said, flooding is a very dangerous thing. It takes more lives annually in the United States than any severe storms do. And man, it is looking like a significant flooding event for our region. And once again, that circled area is the main area that I'm concerned with to see the biggest. Everyone's going to see impacts from flooding, but I think, anytime you deal with 8 to 10 inches of rainfall, whether you live in Marion, whether you live in Benton, Carbondale, Mount Vernon, it doesn't matter. If you get 8 inches of rainfall over that time period, you're going to be dealing with some flooding issues. But for those of us that lives in the low-lying areas, man, it's really going to be, I think, a very difficult situation as far as flooding goes over the next few days. I'm going to go ahead and put back the model on your screen. We're going to change that from that model to the GFS, which is loading in for its newest update right now. I wish maybe we'd went live a little bit later. We could have that update in, but no big deal. I think it's pretty much going to show the same thing that we've been talking about, because this model has been the most consistent over the most amount of time. So let's run through this day by day, and I'm nowhere near done yet. We're only halfway through probably this video, because there's more severe weather threats after this as well with this system. So this is right now moving into Wednesday. Right there is when we see that line of potentially severe thunderstorms moving through southern Illinois tomorrow. That moves out of the region. We get a little bit of a break from the rain on Wednesday night into Thursday morning, into Thursday afternoon, and then here comes more rain by the time we get to the afternoon hours on Thursday, into the evening on Thursday. And you can see right there, it's wanting to continue the rainfall on Thursday night into Friday for those along the Ohio River, and kind of give a little bit of a break to those of us, say, in Perry or Jefferson counties, even Jackson County. But that's going to continue through Thursday night into Friday, and it's really just tracking right along the Ohio River. And then by the time we get to Friday, that is when we're going to see more widespread rainfall move in. So Friday evening into Saturday morning, I think we're going to be seeing widespread rainfall. And then by the time we get to Saturday, look at that, another chance possibly for severe weather then. And then just training thunderstorms is what we call them. They're just training right along the Ohio River, and it just continues on and on and on and on until finally we get a break from it by early Sunday morning. And I'm just going to mention this, not a big deal, but latest model is even picking up. We might see some snowflakes on Sunday as well. So that's what you get for living in southern Illinois. You have tornadoes one day and then snowflakes the next. But well, I think we're likely going to see our biggest issues when it comes to flooding on Saturday. Friday night into Saturday, I think we're going to see widespread flooding impacts and issues all across our region. And I think we're going to start to see flooding issues along the Ohio River as early as Thursday. So that is a look at the flooding. I'm going to go ahead and put the total precipitation this model is wanting to spit out. And I'm going to zoom in for you so you can see that a little bit better on your screen. So like I said, that area right along the Ohio River where you see those 13.1, 13.6, that's Cape Girardeau, 13.2, that's Paducah. That area right along the Ohio River is where I think we're going to see some major flooding issues from this event. This model spitting out 10 inches of rain in Carbondale over the next 3-4 days, 10 inches of rain in Marion, 10 inches of rain in West Frankfort, spitting out lower totals, 6 inches of rain up by DuQuoin and Pinckneyville, and then more towards 4 to 3 inches of rain in St. Louis. So yeah, it's going to be raining for a long time, and it's going to be raining a lot in southern Illinois. So that is what the latest model is wanting to spit out for total rainfall accumulation over the next few days. Another thing I want to mention, this is so this is what you're on your screen now, flipping back to the severe weather for just a moment. By the way, if you have any questions, be sure to leave those in the comments section. We are going to do our best to answer some of the questions in the comments section. Brian, yes, the latest run does show that severe weather is still likely in southern Illinois. I think the highest threat for severe weather is going to be along the Ohio River and into western Kentucky. That could shift back to the northwest. Summer, what's the likelihood of the storm trending downwards more? If you're referring to the Storm Prediction Center's outlook, I don't think it's going to trend downward. We never see it really trend downward, especially this close to an event. I don't think, I would be highly shocked if we get issued under a level 5 out of 5 or high risk. I don't think that's going to happen. If anything does happen, like I said, I do think this could be changed a little bit further to the east by the updates by tomorrow. So the red you see there on your screen, I wouldn't be shocked if that's maybe moved a little bit further east out of southern Illinois if we continue to see the updates that we're seeing this afternoon. But that is just one severe weather threat. Now this is for Thursday. This is the severe weather threat for Thursday. They already have us outlooked in a slight risk for severe weather that day. That is a level 2 out of 5. And then day 4, which is Friday, we are also outlooked for a slight risk or a 15% risk of severe weather. Again, that's still 4 days out. And then we are also outlooked for a slight risk of severe weather, portions of our area, for Saturday as well. So we're looking at multiple days of potential severe weather here. I do think the highest severe weather threat, like I said, is going to be with tomorrow's system. That's why we're under that moderate risk. But I do think as we move further into the week, we could also see some additional severe weather threats as well. All right, so once again, if you have any other questions, be sure to leave those in the comments section. We'll do our best to answer those. I'm going to go ahead and Savannah asking, what is the timing for the severe weather event on Wednesday? Very good question, Savannah. We did mention that a little bit earlier, but I'll put it back on the screen for you because I know that's a big question for a lot of people, is the timing. So looking like these storms are going to be forming along the Mississippi River right around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, moving into southern Illinois by 4 or 5 o'clock, and then moving out of our region by 7 or 8 o'clock. So that graphic you see there is from the National Weather Service. Very reliable graphic there, I believe. I think 4 to 8 p.m. is the time frame for severe weather in southern Illinois. Very good question there from Savannah, rather. If you have any other questions, be sure to leave those in the comments. We'll do our best to answer those. Let's see if we have any other comments. Dottie's storm anxiety is about maxed out for this old woman. I would say it's maxed out. In my knowledge of just the severe weather events we've seen, I'd say over the past 10 years or so, I don't think we've ever seen this many back-to-back-to-back severe weather outlooks of enhanced risk days in a very, very, very long time. We saw 3-4 areas of record low pressure move through the region last month, which that's why it was so windy in March. And then we're still seeing severe weather lasting now into April. So yeah, storm anxiety definitely up there for our region. I don't think, and once again, I want to say this as well, as far as the severe weather goes, the likelihood of you getting hit by a tornado is extremely low. Excuse the voice crack there. But I do think I do think there's a very good chance that when this is all said and done with, someone in southern Illinois will likely see a tornado. I don't know the intensity of that, obviously, but I do think we will likely see at least 1 or 2 tornadoes in our region by the time this is all said and done with. And I do think it's possible, if this does line up right and does not move further east, we could see more than that in our region. So that's why we're under that level 4 risk for severe weather. Lori, Yeah, there has been a lot of confusion online about this system. Mainly because we have two main threats here. We have a severe threat, and we also have a flooding threat. Like I said, I think the flooding threat is going to be more of an overall impact than the severe weather threat is going to be. That's why they've issued that PDS flood watch for our region. But there was some chatter on social media earlier about there not being a risk for severe storms in southern Illinois. Yes, there is still a risk for severe weather in southern Illinois. I'm not sure why people are putting that information out. That's what social media gets you. But the best thing you can do if you want reliable information without any outside influence from any company, from any individual, from anyone just wanting clicks, the best thing you can do is go follow the National Weather Service page for Paducah, Kentucky. They're the ones that issue all of the graphics you see there on your screen. These 3 graphics we've been sharing. Now this graphic is ours here, but the 3 graphics we've been sharing right there for the rainfall totals and the flood watch, those have all been from the National Weather Service in Paducah. So they are the best source that you can follow for reliable weather information. If you want, and it's always good, I think, to get multiple different forecasts, because even the Weather Service isn't always right. No one's always right when it comes to forecasting weather, but certain people see different things in the forecast, and that's why we have different forecasts. But this, as far as the flooding goes, really, I think, severe weather is still, it's becoming much more easier to track, but it's also becoming much more advanced when it comes to the threats that we're able to see just a couple days out. Now, as far as the flooding risk goes, this has been consistent for weeks on end, and this is why we are really definitely very concerned about the flooding risk. Is the model really hasn't changed one bit in the last, which is extremely rare. It hasn't changed one bit in the last several days as far as the flooding goes. So yeah, it's a very concerning part. So I am near 100% confidence in the flooding forecast. Confidence, I'd say, still kind of medium right now when it comes to the severe weather forecast for southern Illinois. I think if you or someone you know lives in western Kentucky, they're going to be impacted greatly from both the flooding and the severe weather, I believe. Those of us in southern Illinois will also be impacted by both, but I'd say more on the flooding end of that, based off what we're seeing right now. I do want to read over, speaking of the Weather Service, they put out what is called a forecast discussion, and I want to read the wording of that severe weather discussion that was issued at 1:27 this afternoon. I normally do not read this off word for word, but I'm going to put it on the screen for you so you can see what I'm going to read off to you. And this is why there's been so much concern with this event, is because of some of the wording that's been out there from the Weather Service. If we can get that on the screen here. One moment. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this was issued at 1:27. Again, major severe weather outbreak anticipated Wednesday afternoon. Tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds are expected, and historically high forecast rainfall amounts of up to a foot will lead to significant and widespread flooding Wednesday through Sunday. So, some big words in there that we don't see very often from the Weather Service, and that is why we are so concerned with this system, particularly with the flooding. And there's also one thing I haven't mentioned. There's more wind energy as far as the severe weather goes. There's more wind energy in this system than there is with the last severe weather system we saw last week. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this back over for those of you who might just be joining us to the short range model. This is the HRRR. I'm going to zoom into southern Illinois. Let's see here. All right, so this is we're actually going to have to change the, one moment. There we go. Okay, so this is the model from the HRRR, which is the most reliable model when we get this close to an event. We showed this a little bit further a little earlier in the video, but I'm going to show it again for you guys. So this is Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday, and I'm going to show you the wind energy inside this storm system. So this would be about 2 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. That's when we start to see some storms firing up in southeastern Missouri. By 3, 4 o'clock, they cross the Mississippi River. Here's 5 o'clock. That's when they move into southern Illinois. 6 o'clock, there's a really big difference in this run from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. 5 o'clock, we see a more organized kind of line of storms moving in. By 6 o'clock, this is wanting to break it apart a little bit as it goes right over the heart of our area. And then by the 7 and 8 o'clock model runs, it's the reason that I've said multiple times that we could see the overall severe weather risk maybe moved a little bit further to the east into western Kentucky. Again, it has not been moved yet. The reason that I've said multiple times that we could see the overall severe weather risk maybe moved a little bit further to the east into western Kentucky. Again, it has not been moved yet, but I think we could. That's just something we're kind of monitoring right now. But that gives you a good idea of the timing of the event. I think the main line of severe weather will be out of southern Illinois by 9 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to zoom back out to the regional look. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the, see if we can get the wind energy. Okay, so this is the wind shear in the atmosphere, and the red indicates greater wind shear. So this is Wednesday afternoon, and right around this time is when the storms would be moving into our region. So you see those red and those yellows, that is nearly maxed out wind shear. So there's a lot more wind in this system than the system we saw last week. Wind is very similar, not quite as strong, but the wind shear is very similar to what we saw with the system back on March 14th, that produced 2 tornadoes in southern Illinois. The wind field is going to be pretty similar to that system, and that is the reason I think the moderate risk has been issued for southern Illinois. See if you have any other questions in the comments section. I'm not seeing anything else as of right now, so hopefully I've covered everything. And if you have any other questions, be sure to leave those in the comments, and we'll do our best to keep you updated on this severe weather potential as we move closer to it tomorrow and into tomorrow night. Until then, have a great afternoon. Get some stuff done today. Today is preparation day before the